Hello, happy Tuesday. This is the last Tuesday of 2025. So, I have been trying to video about deconstructing religion and Christianity. And I have been trying to record this, but it seems like I'm going to have to record it in different parts. Because this has been before I left religion. So I've been gone away. Okay, this is this process, okay? So religion became a struggle for me 10 years ago. It started to be something altogether very weird. And then I had to go through the process of letting it go and finding what do I believe in? What do I do? And so I'll give the steps to that and what led to this and what led to that and what led to the other. So I'll start from when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I did not see healthy Christianity. I did not see that. I don't even know if that exists, to be honest with you. I don't think it exists. This is my view. This is nobody else's view, but this is just mine. As a kid, I never believed in the devil, but I always believed in God. Because I remember I was 4 years old when I got my first visit from God. Some things that happened to me, and I stopped talking. Became a mute. And I remember, being taken to the church. They couldn't get me to talk. But even as a kid, being taken to a church for issues that a child is having was very perverted. And so I saw Christians from a cruel, perverted place. And I vowed that I would never be one of those. I saw women get taken advantage of by so-called godly men. And I saw children be exploited and taken advantage of by so-called godly people. And none of that, all of that, I knew it was wrong. As a kid, I knew it was wrong. So I never believed what people believed. I used to always tell people when I became a grown adult, I was like, yeah, I believe, but not quite how you believe. It's a lot of things that I didn't believe. Like, I don't believe it's one way. I don't believe it's one way to do anything. I do believe it's different roads that lead to all to home. Like, I can get to my house 6 different ways. That's why I love where I live. I can get here, let the traffic be backed up on 610, 288. Baby, I can still get home in record time. Okay. Dip, boom, I'm home. So, all roads can lead home. I never believed this Jesus Christ thing. Especially when I learned Jesus is really Jesus. I was like, Jesus. And then no, the J was not invented until what, 1700s? Okay. So I was like, something right there. Because I went to school with a boy named Jesus. But his name was Jesus. And he was like, no, it's Jesus. And then like Jesus have another meeting. I was like, none of that made sense to me. So I've never believed like people believed. I never believed that Jesus was God. I've always believed that Jesus was a human that was placed here, a chosen one, placed here to help humanity evolve. And instead of evolving, we killed him, like we do everybody else that try to help us enlighten and evolve. What we do? Kill them. Okay. So I've never believed any of that. And because I was getting visits from God at 4, I had a good idea of who God was. And it wasn't this. Okay. So I always knew it was a God inside. That's what I got introduced to, a God inside. And I remember when I was a little girl, a lady named Miss Betty, who used to babysit me, when I was a mute. She used to tell my aunts and stuff, she's like, she'll see her. She sees. She see everything. She don't miss nothing. And I remember my mom was instructed, watch her. Watch what she say. Listen to it. She's a seer. And my mom ended up telling me, but yeah, she do say things. I don't be knowing where she get it from. They thought I just made up stories. No, I saw things. And then they would come true. And then they were like, Misty said that. But that's been my whole life. It has been my whole life. Misty said that. I'm like. So I've always been a seer. And I can hear. Like, I'll explain it. So if you're talking to me, I hear you clear. But then in my ear, like I have on an earbud, and I don't, something else could be. And it's only in one ear, this one. I get ringing in this ear. It's all in this ear. It's never in this one. It's like I have a bud in this ear that's telling me other stuff. So when I piece together what you're saying, because I had to learn how to do that, piece together what the person is saying and piece together what I'm hearing, then that's how I come up with truth. People don't understand that about me. And before, I don't think I was good at explaining it either. It's my green juice, y'all. So, I can hear and hear. So what I've learned, these and this is observation. Here and here is where you see and hear. Okay? So I've always had the ability to do that. So it has been a saving grace for me, especially in dangerous situations. When I'm in danger, I know it. I know it. When danger is coming, I know it. Like, it got so bad in my family to where if I got up and leave, other people get up and leave too. They be like, she sees something. Because people be like, how you know when to go? Because all hell breaks out when I leave. And how I see it is energy starts to shift. That's how I see. Energy will shift. Like shift around like in an infinity. Energy would start shift. I can see it. Like you can see energy shifting. And then you'll hear mumbles over here, mumbles over there. Chaos. Right? And I'll be like, yep, this is my time. Let me go ahead and go. And then they'll be like, Misty, girl, as soon as you left, all hell broke loose. So people started to feel my vibe. Can't see what I can see. But if I pack up and say, all right, we finna go, they'll be like, everybody finna go with her. Because I can see it. So, and let me tell you something about a gift. The gift comes from God. You need God for the gift. The gift is very confusing because you have to grow into your gift, believe it or not. You can't use your gift without God. You need God for the gift. So it's hard to not believe in anything and be gifted. I can tell people things about themselves. They'll be like, how you knew that? Like, just what was it, Saturday night? As a girl, she was eating cornstarch, and I was like, you have acid reflux? She was like, oh, how you know? I was like, I was just asking. Like, I was just asking. And she was like, how did you know that? How do you know I eat this for digestion? I said, because you drink, and you drink heavy. She looking at me. I said, it messed with your acid in your stomach, the alcohol. So you have to eat cornstarch to keep the acid from bubbling over. Girl! so she went to everybody. She know I have digestive issues. I'm like, hey. It wasn't that to me. Last year or year for that, I went to a baby shower. And this woman looked like women that I grew up with. Physique, face, even in her attitude just gave it away. And so I asked her, was she a? I gave it a name. And she was like, huh? I said, are you a? It's a boudoir. They have certain looks, the women in their family. It is what are they? Creole, Cajun? They're a bunch of stuff because they look black, white, Spanish. They're rainbow people. But she had the look of a friend that I grew up with, her family, her aunts and stuff, looked just like this woman. And so I thought maybe she was one of the nieces that I didn't forgot. So I asked her, I said, are you a boudoir? And she was like, why would you ask me that? I said, because you look like them. I said, you feisty like them too. Beautiful high yellow women, but they feisty. Don't you ever think just because they beautiful they won't get in your ass. Oh baby, and she had that with her. So she was like, I don't know. She said, but my dad is a boudoir, and I haven't seen my dad in 15 years. I was like, shit. So then I pulled her to the side. I said, tell me your dad's name. I can help you find him. So I reached out to Mike. Some of the best people in the world. I grew up with them. They were like second parents to me. So I reached out to him and asked him about the guy. He was like, yeah, he's my first cousin and he's been dead 15 years. I said, well, he have a daughter that's looking for him. And I sent a picture of her. I said, can I take a picture of her? So I took a picture of her and sent to him. He was like, oh yeah, she's one of us. He's like, but I have a good idea of who her mother was. Is her mother dead? And I was like, yeah, her mother's dead. And he was like, yeah, I know. And so he went to tell me about it. And he told me about that, some things that happened that separated her from her family. I didn't tell her that. I just didn't want the burden. She was already wanting to see her dad, being separated from her dad. He had died. And I didn't want to put the burden on. That's why they don't talk to you, because your mama was on some real life BS. So I didn't say all that. I just let her know that he passed, and that's why you haven't heard from him. And she told me, she was like, you put my heart at rest. And I was like, oh, no problem. Okay. But it's instance like that. Like a girl I was working with, I told her, I said, you pregnant? And she was like, no, I am not pregnant. I was like, girl, you're going to have twins. And I just kept telling her that. And one day she came to work. She was like, Miss Misty, office now. And I was like, oh, shit. She was like, how did you know I was pregnant? I said, every time I saw you, I saw babies. I just saw babies, like on you, like little babies. She said, do you see them now? I was like, every time I see you, I see little babies. It is 2 of them. And she was like, 2 babies in here. I was like, sorry. I've just been able to see. I can see people. Now, with the maturity of the gift, right? I've learned not to say so much, even though I see it, because I used to freak people out. My mom be like, oh, she's doing it again. My cousin be like, how do you do that? I was like, people would just come sit next to me and tell me their whole life story. My cousin, me and my cousin sang, and she was like, how do you deal with that? Like one day we was out eating and a man was at the window outside and he was trying to tell me something through the window and I didn't know what he's talking about. But you could tell something was going on with him. And so I told him to come inside. And I was like, tell me what you're trying to tell me. And he was like, he got to telling me about his life. And so I told him, I said, I'll tell you what. So I talked to the
playing from Misty Z Fold 5
waitress. I said, do he come out all the time? She was like, I said, will y'all let him eat in here? And she was like, I said, I tell you what. Go sit to a table. Order your food, order your drinks. I got it. He was like, no, for real. He was like, the food in here smells so good. I was like, order what you want and I'll pay for it. His food ain't like $27. And he was just telling me, he was like, people are not kind to me. People look at me as if I'm invisible. They don't see me, but you do. And that's when I learned. Seeing people is a gift. I don't know how people walk around and don't see people. But I'm pretty sure I walk around and don't see people too. Pretty sure. But the people I can see them. And I can also feel them. Like, it's a feeling like like the woman that a guy I was engaged to, we broke up, he ended up marrying this woman. When I first saw her, I knew that they had been intimate together. I could see it, just as plain as day. I could see it. And I kept asking him, you sure you ain't never been intimate with this woman? Everything about her kept saying to me, girl, that's my man. What are you doing, my man? Like, it was so exaggerated. Every time I see her, that's what I would see. Girl, what you doing, my man? I was like, why do I get this strange feeling every time I see this woman? And then she tried to befriend me, and I was like, that's why I draw the line. Oh, no. You can't befriend me. Not with that type of energy. Oh, no, because I know y'all done had each other. And that ain't going to go well for me. I don't mind people having a past, because I have a past. Everybody have a past. But we can't be friends. That ain't what's going to happen. So, I kept my distance from her. But I've always told him, the crazy thing is, I was like, she's more your speed. Because I knew I was out of his league. I knew it. After the first year of us dating, I was like, uh-oh. And the kids let me know I was out of his league. Because the kids were very disgruntled with me. And they felt like if he'd have treated their mother like he treated me, there's no way she'd have died. She wouldn't have overdosed. And they had valid reasons to feel that way. I didn't take away what they felt. I didn't invalidate it. I didn't make it stupid or dumb. I was just like, y'all have valid reasons to feel what you feel. I said, and I'm not trying to be your mom. I just want to be a soft place to fall if you need one. I don't want to be your mom. You have a mom. Honor that. Honor her. But if you need somebody to be motherly with you, I'll be a soft place to fall for you. but they were raised different. So what I said and what they heard was two different things. And I let it go. I let it go. Because then that prompted me to start looking at him. So I started looking. And then I would add input or perspective in places where I think it was needed. And with him, what wore him with me is because he felt like I was too concerned about his children and not concerned enough about him. And he said, I picked you for me, not for them. And I don't roll like that. If I pick a man with kids, I'm going to treat you like you're mine. I'm going to treat you with love, respect, and dignity like I do mine. But I am a different person. Okay. A lot of ghetto shit, I ain't with it. So, people think, oh, she's stuck up and she bougie. Yeah, okay. I take it. I've been called that for a very long time. I'm okay with that. Because there's some things I'm just not into. But I'll be there. So he ended up getting with her and marrying her, but I knew from the jump. And I could also see those kids' pain because I saw that their mother did not get respect. Not the respect I got. And the woman he ended up marrying did not get respect. The respect that I got. Because the people at the church called me and they was like, did he ever talk to you? Or I was like, did you ask the kids? They said he'd never. I say, take what they said. He would have never. I said, I don't play that. He would have never. Ever. Called me stupid and dumb. Told me to shut the hell up. Who you talking to? I said, no. I don't play. I'm not into it. I ain't no better than nobody, but I ain't, you can't disrespect me. I don't. But once I started to see it, it started to cycle. And then I could see. And so I would tell him what I saw. And he would be baffled. He'd be like, who's showing you this? Where are you getting this stuff from? How do you know these things? Like, I would fix my hair a certain way. He'd be like, why did you fix your hair like that? I'd be like, because I like it. I don't like it. It like, hair was triggering for him. I was like, but I ain't changing it. Who finna change it because you don't like it? Not me. I suggest you not look at it. Because it ain't gonna change. Because the moment you change that, you have to change everything else. I ain't changing nothing. So I'm starting right there. I ain't changing my hair. Put this damn hair in. I think I was getting sew-ins at the time. So yeah, baby now. So I could just see it. And they thought I was so weird, like a witch or something. Because I've been called a witch. I've been called Lilith. Because I had to do some extensive research on Lilith. I didn't even know who she was. I had never heard of that. But a man kept calling me Lilith. Thought he was embarrassing me because I wouldn't talk to him. And when he would call me Lilith, I would be so troubled in my spirit. Like, that man would send me. And he was a cousin's brother-in-law. All because I wouldn't talk to him. He would just start saying things like, he was like, felt like casting spells on me. So once I did my research on old Lilith, I showed him what Lilith was. And what about it? This crazy man even followed me to my church, joined my church, got married at my church. I was like, man, that's so weird. And then he did all that to say, this what you missed out on. I didn't miss out on that, sir. This what you turned down. Sir, you are old enough to be my father. I didn't miss out on anything. What's for me is for me, and what's not is not. And that's a nice lady. I mean, as nice as she was, I would have never. But she was a nice lady, and she deserved everything that he gave her. I didn't feel like I missed anything because I don't like you. But when I learned about Lilith, I gave him a good dose of Lilith. So he went from calling me Lilith to a motherfucker. I said, no, what happened to Lilith? You got to be careful what you say to people. They can show up as that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be careful. So I made him learn to watch his mouth when he talked to me. So then he told me, oh, you a woman, you demand your respect. And what about it? Because I can see. You just a big kid feeling rejected. But I'm not for you. You are, I like warm men. I like affectionate men. I like kind men. I like thoughtful men. I like men who say what they mean and mean what they say. I like men who's comfortable in leadership and not dictatorship. I like those type of men. I don't like other types of men. Because I have a strong personality. I'm pretty sure you can feel that through these conversations. I have a strong personality, and I don't put myself in situations that's going to cause a broil or me to just really show my ass. Basically, I stay out of situations like that. Because, baby, once you get to showing your ass, it's kind of like a never-ending story. So I don't want to start nothing because it takes a lot of work to stop it. So let's not even start it. And I stand on it. I'm not changing. And so this gift that I have led me to leave religion. Because when you can see and you start making sense to what you can see, because you need God for the gift, you make sense to what you can see. Everything starts to make sense. And even when you see something or you're told something and you don't, because you already saw it, you're not so invested because the detachment starts to start. And those are things I can appreciate about my gift. Another thing about my gift, I can be heartbroken. I can be heartbroken. And people will never know. I could be looking at people. Like Saturday, my dad looked at me. He was like, "You're doing good." I said, "I am completely heartbroken." He said, "Well, good. You look good doing it." Can be completely heartbroken and people can't see it. Now I understand why the garden side say video diary. Because the emotions I have in this video is raw. These are raw emotions. I'm not editing this crap. I'll look at it once it's done, but I'm not editing nothing. These are my raw emotions and my raw feelings. And the more I become comfortable with the rawness of myself, the more clarity I get. Man, I get so much clarity. So in part 2, I'm going to talk about how God was allowing me to be pushed out the church. Pushed away, separated. And it was a pushing because I didn't want it to happen, but it's something that had to happen. All things work together for the good for those who love the Lord. And that is true. That's what I know for sure. So stay tuned for part 2 and namaste.